strange. We extranjo, as they say in the old country. So, as you all know, I did a Facebook Live, a YouTube Live, and a Twitter Live, by the way. That was on Twitter as well, because you can do them all at the same time, on Friday, early in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time, about the Go case. All right, so I was on about the Go case at 9 o'clock, and Chakrabarty I was on a little bit later in the day at noon. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the litigation. Now, two things. One, it's my birthday. Don't say happy birthday. You don't need to say happy birthday. I've had a happy birthday. It's been great. But 30 minutes and we're done. All right, because it's that kind of day. And two, we don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. Aaron, do we have all the answers?
Usually, but not today.
Not today. We don't have all the answers yet. So we do have some stuff popping that we'll fill you in on. So let's go first to the Go case. I'm gonna put a tag up so that Lily doesn't get mad at me here if she ever comes. Go DV2021. So this is the first part of today's interview is about this. All right. First thing, go back and look what I said on Friday. All right, that's the first thing you should do before you ask us any questions about anything. Go watch that because I went through everything, and I'm not going to repeat it all today. So where are we today? We are still putting together our internal spreadsheet of remaining plaintiffs who, as we understand it, are DQ'd, because we don't always know who has all their documents in based on your information and who doesn't have anything done. Who they got their stuff in, but no documents, no nothing. All right, I will tell you from our last filing, and Aaron, you can correct me because you're kind of the guru on this. I think we had like 115 or 108 people that were DQ'd, that were documentarily qualified, that we knew of on the 27th. Okay, I think there was another 380 that had their documents in, I think, and then there was everybody else. Now, what don't we know? We're literally going through the CEAC now because even though I asked on Friday for everybody to update their information, you didn't. So we have a staff member literally going through all the numbers on the Department of State website to see whose visas were issued, who is DQ'd, if that's even available there, and who has their documents in. So here's another thing that you need to know. We sent you, the plaintiffs, an amended complaint. After that amended complaint was filed, Aaron, we dismissed about 40 plaintiffs?
Yeah, about that.
And we dismissed them because they didn't pay. So there's nobody left who didn't pay us. One. So you don't have to worry about that. And we have provided a list to the government a couple months ago, a month or so ago. Everybody, we're going to work with the government. Nobody answers their phone today, by the way. Maybe it's International Chuck Cook Day. I'm not really quite sure, but we're going to work with the government to see what they're going to do. All right, how they're going to do this. You don't need to be emailing the consulate. The consulate's going to tell you, hey, the judge ordered relief and go, but we don't have any details, because they don't. They're not going to set you for an interview until headquarters tells them to do so. We're going to find out whether the government intends to appeal. We have not decided whether we should or should not appeal, nor are we taking votes. So do not email us with your votes one way or the other. One thing I will say is this, and I think Aaron agrees. If we appeal, just us, you could lose everything. Okay. If the government appeals, you could lose everything. If the government appeals, we would likely decide whether it's appropriate to cross-appeal or not. Yes, we know the judge's math is incorrect. It's more incorrect than you know. Okay. It's also inherently unfair. We know. We understand the arguments perhaps better than you do. Might not know the math as good as you do, but we understand the arguments very, very well. And we're going to do everything possible to protect as many of our clients as we possibly can. This is clearly not the ideal outcome for either us or anybody else that's litigating this issue. So we're going to keep working this, and we will give you an update, if not on Wednesday when I'm live, but certainly next Monday, when we have a better understanding of exactly where everybody is and exactly where we want to move forward to. So we'll probably have that decision by next Monday. If we have it sooner, we will have a YouTube live and we'll let you know. Okay, we'll let you know.
One other thing about the appeal that I wanted to jump in with, the idea of an appeal. Yes, we've gotten many emails about appeal. Some saying you should appeal, some saying you shouldn't. And like Chuck said, we're not taking a vote. But I will say, for those people who think that it's obvious that we should appeal, far be it from me to speak ill of the judiciary. But I'll tell you that there are some recent appointees who have kicked these cases out without a second thought, these mandamus DV cases, saying there is no authority to reserve beyond the year, and that's it. Well, some of those same types of ideologues are now on the DC circuit, and you don't know who your panel is going to be. And so even if you think your arguments are solid, are supported by law, it's a game of roulette. And so we keep that in mind before we make these kind of decisions.
All right. I mean, so that's kind of where we are on Go. All right. And Darren, anything else on Go that we want to add to that?
Let's see. I'm just going to think if there's any common questions that I'm getting right now. Oh, a lot of requests for plaintiff data. We will be able to give a good summary of data, like Chuck said, within about the next week or so. We are not going to be releasing name-specific data at any time. I don't have plans to do that.
No, we're simply not. We can't do that. We can't release clients. But you all know who the plaintiffs are. And we're not going to tell you who's DQ'd, who's not DQ'd. That's for them to know. They want to tell you they're great. Welcome to go ahead. We do know that we do not have enough DQ'd and paper documents to get to the number the judge has. If I did my math right, there's going to be people that aren't DQ'd or all documents in to get, as we know that. So I would ask you today, my takeaway for you, if you're a Go plaintiff, please, I beg you, go onto our link that you got in an email and update your data. Okay, update your data. Are you documentarily qualified? Where are all your documents? When did you send your documents? Because the way the Department of State, they haven't told us this, but my guess is the way they're going to do this is, one, people whose interviews got canceled or got postponed or who were pending administrative processing. I'm going to guess that. I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess that. Two, people who are documentarily qualified that can get interviewed. Three, people with documents in who can easily be documentarily qualified and scheduled. And then four, other people, depending on when their documents were received, not just your number, because it's not your number that controls. It's when you got your documents in. And yes, I know the KCC lied to you. They misled you. They told you not to send documents until I told you so, and that was a lie. Take note, DV2022. Send your documents in now. So,
last thing on Go. I included this in my email on Thursday night, and I know that Chuck and Lily reiterated it as well. But we will not and cannot pick and choose favorites between Go plaintiffs. So if you're asking us to advocate for your specific case at a consulate, first of all, we can't do it. We're not authorized to communicate directly with the consulates on your behalf. But second of all, we are not advocating for one group over another in the distribution of these visas. We cannot do that, and we will not do that. We will give general advice on things that people should do, that all plaintiffs should do in certain situations, language that they should use in communicating. But we're not going to be doing individual responses to inquiries. We can't do that. It's not fair, and we're not allowed to do it. So
yeah, it actually violates our ethics codes.
So just know when we're getting a ton of emails. If you're not getting responses specific to your individual situation, that's why we can't, and we have to be strict about it.
All right. So now we're going to switch over to the Chakrabarty case. I should spell that out. So here we go, Aaron. This was a terrible decision. It was a terrible decision by the judge. I mean, there were factual errors in it. There were legal errors in it. And of course, he waited to the last day, next to last day, giving us literally less than 12 hours to get temporary restraining orders filed. But the worst part about this, Aaron, was that we could only file a TRO where the receiving court had opened a case. And that did not happen for everybody. A great example of that is the Nebraska Service Center. Late in the day on Friday, we received and keep it also in mind, we're not admitted in every court in America. To practice in the district court, you have to be admitted in that district court. I'm not admitted in every district court in America. Aaron's not admitted in every district court in America. Their district courts, we're not admitted. We can't practice there without somebody else coming in to assist us with that. Now, are they assisting us? No, they're just putting their name in, but they still have to do that. So the Nebraska clerk's office sent an email, and this is a classic email. It was like, notice to the parties, this case was erroneously transferred to Nebraska in a change of venue motion. We're returning the file back to Maryland. There was no case open. And then they finally got their act together. And after the court closed in Nebraska, we were getting emails about a Nebraska case. Late in the day, we got a Texas case finally open. So here's what we did. Oddly enough, Aaron, the very first case that was opened back at the district level the next morning was in Georgia, my hometown. I'm admitted in Georgia. Monday to Friday morning, I filed a temporary restraining order in that case. The next case that opened was in the Middle District of Florida. Oddly enough, we have a very close friend in Florida, and I've had a case there, so we filed another TRO there. They then had another couple of cases in Tennessee. Oddly enough, we're admitted in Tennessee. We filed TROs there. And then finally, late in the day, our time, they opened a file in Texas. And so along with our good friend Jim Hacking, who's admitted, and I'm admitted in Texas as well, we filed a TRO there. But here's the problem. Georgia, Florida, and the two Tennessee cases, immigration approved them. There's no case. The U.S. attorney called it, great news! Your client's case is approved. TRO is useless. It's gone. It just evaporated. The one exception was Texas. And we called the clerk, and no judge ruled on it on Friday. Now, this morning, a judge actually emailed the government counsel in the case, trying to find it right here, and said, hey, you need to file a response to the TRO. And today at, what time was this sent? Today at 5:30, the government filed a response to the TRO in the case. Their response is blah, 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 blah. The fiscal year is over. So, I mean, basically it was a royal screw job by the judge. I'm sorry to be so blank about that, by the judge. And the government's now arguing, well, your case got transferred. Yeah, you asked for the transfer inappropriately because it's properly filed. So we don't know what that judge is going to do. Hopefully we'll have an oral argument. I don't know, tomorrow on the case. If so, we're prepared to have argument in that case. But that's kind of where we are. So we did not get a TRO yet. I mean, it's still technically possible, I guess, but we did not get a TRO to reserve the numbers, even though we tried as honestly as hard as I worked. Friday was just an impossibility, Aaron. We just couldn't. We just did everything we possibly could around the country. Now, here's the deal. It looks like immigration approved a lot of plaintiffs the last week of the month and the last day of the month. So we need you. And again, we did a Facebook Live talking about all this on Friday at noon. You need to go in to our database, a link we sent you, and update us whether you got approved or not. Now, so what we're doing for you is the same thing we're doing for Go. We don't have a plan. The plan is to fight these cases, but we'll talk about that in a second. We first have to find out who's still valid, who's got a case. A lot of you got approved. I mean, a lot of you were successfully granted the case because we filed. I mean, that's great news. But it looks like most of those approvals were those that were in district offices, which were under a lot of pressure to approve a lot of cases towards the end of the month. And then a lot of the unapproved cases are in Texas and Nebraska. Now, there is a group of people, and this is truly bizarre, Aaron, whose cases are at the National Benefits Center, otherwise known as the MSC, which stands for the Missouri Service Center, by the way. Their mailing address, do you know what their mailing address is, Aaron?
I know I know that they're in. I know that they're in Missouri, right?
Yes, except their mailing address
Mm-hmm.
is in Overland Park, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
But your case is in Missouri, and the judge transferred all the cases to Kansas, the district court in Kansas. So now they got to be transferred out of Kansas and the Missouri Service Center doesn't make case decisions. They don't decide cases on employment. They just don't. They are a waypoint to the service, to the local offices. So it's a nightmare. It's a mess. All right. Obviously, we weren't hired to do 196 individual mandamuses around the United States. Clearly, we weren't hired to do that. But here's what we're tentatively going to do. We're going to put together our list. Who should have it tomorrow? Where everybody is, what their new case numbers are. Everybody got a new case number. Everybody's got a new judge. And we're still we just got one from the Western District of Washington. Keep in mind, many times a change of venue, Aaron, that could take weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to get into the new court. So there's going to be some of you, we don't even have your file yet. So we're going through that list right now. Now, in Nebraska, one judge has been assigned 6 different cases, and he has set oral argument on the preliminary injunction. Remember, you all have preliminary injunctions pending on all these cases, on your mandamus case and on the reservation. And that judge has set oral argument on Friday at 10 a.m. We will reach out to you, say 5 or 6 plaintiffs in that case. We will send you the link to listen in so you can listen to oral argument that we'll be doing on Friday at 10 a.m. What we're also going to be doing is communicating with you by email and individually about where you are. We're first going to send out a spreadsheet to everybody about where you are. Okay, it'll just have your name and your location and your case number. Okay, that's objectionable to you. Please email me, ccook@immigration.net. Not Aaron. Don't email Aaron. Okay. Well, Aaron's going to be helping getting the spreadsheet together. Then we're going to look at what the best options are for every case. Now, for those that are EB3 approved or EB3 downgrade, you have the really first priority on this because we know the backlog is pending November 1, and it is now urgent that the USAS do their job. 2, one of the massive errors that the judge made in his case, he says the normal processing time at X service center is 11 to 28 months, ignoring our brief, which clearly explained that that is not a range of cases. 11 is the median, which means half take less, half take more. The 28 is an outlier. It's 4%. It's the crazy cases. That's not you guys. It's not a range. And you guys are almost all now a year old, or certainly at 11. Most of you at 11 months. Some of you are late 10 months, but most of you at 12 to 11 months. So you all have a much stronger claim now. So, and there was a judge in Mississippi that, granted the approval for 5 cases and reserved that they couldn't get done. That was, by the way, a Trump appointee, that case was. It just shows you don't really know what happens. And, that was, a local guy in a local court, and sometimes that worked best. The goal of this litigation was to try to save the $85,000 and get each of you approved at the same time. Many of you have been approved. The goal is to get all of you approved, all right? But we have to look at that in the context of where we are in each case and what we were actually retained to do. So we're going to be in touch with you over the next couple of days. We don't have a final plan today. Like I said, it's my freaking birthday, all right? And while I was working all day, I was doing other stuff today. We need to put all this in action now that we finally have most of these briefs in. We may move to consolidate all of the Nebraska cases with that judge to reserve them all at one time. Again, we have to look at the judges. I don't even know this judge. All right, I don't know, what's he like, who appointed him. But there's only 2 judges in Nebraska, or 3 at the most. In Texas, a lot of the cases have been sent to magistrates. They're all over the place. And I think there was initially like 70 cases in Texas, or 60 cases in Texas, or something like that. But we didn't get 60 notices. That's for sure. We're still missing stuff. Aaron, what else do you have on the EUS EBAOSDelay litigation?
Nothing. So I'll let everybody know that I was actually on actual vacation for the last few days. And I came back and I was keeping some tabs on it, but mostly on vacation. And I came back and saw what the various teams at Impact had done to try to get TROs filed, to try to get all the motions we needed filed, the appearances entered. And it was a Herculean effort on Thursday and Friday. So thank you to Chuck and to all the teams who worked on it.
We had some great people working with us to get this done, and some folks outside of our team that stepped in because they were affected, by the way, by the judge's crazy order, because he's going to order all of them have cases pending in Maryland, and they're all going to get tossed by that judge as well. Like you never file cases. I'm going to intentionally file cases there from now on, hoping I get Judge Massett, so I can have a one-to-one with him about what facts actually are. Like immigration is going to do their job in the future. Let's not count on that happening. All right, Aaron, let's take a few questions, but we're closing in on 6:30, and I really want to be done. We don't have a million questions here.
Okay.
Measy has asked for an updated number. Already answered that. Amended complaint. You have the last amended complaint that was sent out. It was not outdated. You got the last amended complaint that was filed with the court. What you don't have is a list of the actual still pending plaintiffs. That you do not have. Let's see. Why not proportionality of reserved visas? Look, Saint, we talked about this earlier. We believe the judge is wrong. We believe his math is wrong. We believe his math is way wrong. His rationale is wrong. But keep in mind, 3 other judges in that district tossed cases. Nope, not reserving anything, not ordering them to be done. So sometimes half a loaf is all you get. I mean, unfortunately, but we're gonna be looking at that. Let's see. A lot of the stuff we've already answered. This is Vishal. Vishal, good to see you. Will U.S. H-1B registration next year? I don't know why they can't see the duplicate ready. Oh, this is the other case that we're doing. Our H-1B reg rule is still pending, by the way, with the judge. We're still waiting. The government filed a reply brief, and that's kind of where we are on that. All right. Let's see. Klaji, good to see you. I said there was 112. All right. That was 112 people, not named plaintiffs. That was people, as I recall. But again, we will get you the details. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is actually a good question. Visas are always distributed by region. Now, this is a question we have to ask the government. You know, obviously our plaintiffs are not statistically equal among regions. They're not. We have very few Europeans. Very few Europeans. Oh well, I guess Western Europeans. So we don't have it. We don't have a lot of Africans, although we have some. So we have to go back. We're going to look at all that. But I think the government, and it's their call. The judge did not order them how to do it. So it's their call. I mean, but it would be inherently unfair, for example, if they said everybody from Algeria gets a visa, but nobody from Ghana gets any because the consulate's closed. I don't know. We're going to talk to Joe about that. All right. We'll see what the government's going to do. Let's see. Matt, we don't have this number yet, but as I said, we'll be working on this by next week. All right. I did predict the government will appeal because they have fought like cats and dogs, but they might not. We're actually, there's a coalition of people putting pressure on them to not appeal. Because they could lose the appeal too. I mean, they could lose. We could get more visas. That's possible. I don't think so, but that we'd get more visas, but it's possible. Let's see. Remember, rule is you only ask a question once. Otherwise, you get put in timeout. All right. Thank you, Dimitri. Let's see. Go from 2020. Yeah, Iranians also got screwed by the Department of State. Again, a thing that we need to talk to the government about. Let's see. And I know the case has screwed a lot of people, but the way, again, we have to go back and look at all the numbers that include derivatives, and we'll get that information to you. What kind of motion will be filed in Nebraska? Well, Nebraska actually has a hearing, Ram. And if you remember, we already filed the preliminary injunction for everybody. Everybody's got a final, not a final, but it's a case determinative motion pending. And we have a hearing in Nebraska on Friday. So cool, right? This is the part that sucked. A fully briefed case in which a judge refused to make it. I've never seen this before, Aaron. Never. Not in my entire time. Double F, I never see no filing in Texas. Well, that's because we don't have all the Texas cases yet. They might not have received it yet. That's the thing. We have to track all these cases down and find out what happened to them. We're in the process of doing that. Difference between a presiding judge and a referral judge. I don't know what that means. I think what you're referring to, Kumar, is that sometimes a case got referred to a judge who then referred it to a different judge because he was either conflicted or out or too busy. A lot of times the senior judges, these are guys that are in their 70s and 80s and gals 70s and 80s, they don't want a case they got to work hard on at the last minute and make a long decision. That's not what they're still drawing a check, all right? So they're going to refer it out to a younger judge. We see it all the time, all right? Right. No, well, no judge ruled on it, okay? And again, this is what we're looking at. We have the arguments ready for Friday with the judge, all right? Why are we asking reserve, which we know fly Thursday? So let's assume you knew exactly what we were doing in this case. You read the FAQ. You read the intention of what we were doing. All right. We cut you a deal on the mandamus as a joint mandamus. Wasn't individual mandamus. Individual mandamus cost many times more than what you paid on this case. This case was intended to try to save all the visas, and while we were doing that, get your case approved.
And listen, it's also a strategic decision that if somebody looked at it and actually thought it through, if we have a judge do that, then it can help you. Because what's one of the main objections of the government and courts on these mandamus cases? They say plaintiffs just want to jump the queue. Plaintiffs just want to jump the queue. Well, when we reserve them all, you can all get relief without that argument being there. Because they've all been reserved. So it cuts if they're willing to do that, it cuts out that argument. So there's a real good reason to do it for individual plaintiffs as well. Right.
And it was a very good argument, by the way. I still think it's an excellent argument, and we're still going to make it. I mean, we're still going to make the judge can go and say, look, in equity, it's the right thing to do because it's through no fault of your own that the case is here. So it was a really good argument. But you knew this going in, just to be clear. My email, you can email me at, I know I have it in here somewhere. I thought I did. Well, I guess I'll just create a banner. I thought it was in here. Let's see. Let's do. All right. So this is my email, chuck@impactlitigation.com. You can email me there. Okay. You can email me there. Let's see. No updates on Gomez, just why Rohit says, and we failed there. We also judgment wrong. What are you going to do about? What am I going to do about that? I'm going to get up and go home and cry. No, I'm not. If you've not been paying attention, Rohit, go watch my video. Ram, you're six plaintiffs that were with one judge. We're going to look at the judge, as I said earlier, and see if we want to put all the plaintiffs with him, or we better go to the other judge. We'll see. Okay. Glue sniffers or well, whatever. I mean, Britt Simon's a good man. EBS submitted my case. TSA currently, yeah, that's a great question. That's Rajesh. That's what doesn't make any sense here. This is why the judges transfer these cases was simply complete and utter nonsense. Yes, we also defended jumping line. By the way, there is no line. This is mystical. The predicate current. There's no line. The government does not take first in, first out. They don't. There's no first in, first out. We have clients in this case that filed in December that have approved green cards. We have people filed in October who don't. There's no line. Texas has an 11-month processing time. I mean, a 24-month processing time. Texas has an 11. There's no line. There's no line. That's a farcical pig in a poke argument. It's just not based in reality of the Immigration Service. They have no line. So we'll go from that. Let's see. Got a couple more here. Let's see. I don't know of any plaintiff who was approved, but his dependents weren't. But for that, you'll want to talk to your individual lawyer about the case. All right. Because that shouldn't have happened. They should have all been approved together. Let's see. They're saying that our form didn't have a second page to update the status of the case. Let's check that out, Aaron. Okay. If one of our staff's watching, we'll have them take it out there. The government just filed a reply brief at 5:43 in the Texas case. Yes. Nebraska, we have a hearing. Let's see. This is another interesting question about what happens if cases move between the field office and the service center. Will the court location change? I mean, that's what's crazy, because they can change location by whim. It's another reason to sue, which of course the judge didn't give us argument. It's in our brief, but he just blew it off because he had a predisposition to get rid of these cases. Let's see. Hope gets this one right. Let's see. Next, this is yeah, we agree. We know that. I mean, we're getting this done, and good to you. All right. So thank you, Yashmat. I appreciate it, everybody. Let's see, any last questions here at the end? K1s, we have no update on the K1s. I will tell you, in the King London case, that I think Lily told me that everybody is either set for an interview or the case is on the way to the consulate. I don't think anybody's left at the NVC, and that similarly situated K1s who didn't sue cannot say that. I know that for sure. Where's the party tonight? It's in my house, and I want to get there. You don't turn 29 every day. You just don't. You don't turn 29 every day. Aaron, so that's kind of where we are on this stuff. We've got, it's, let's see, take a look at these banners here. The bottom line is we will keep fighting. We will update you by email next. And certainly I will be talking a little about this in my Facebook Live on Wednesday at 2. Aaron, are you on?
Thursday at 2 Eastern.
2 Eastern as well. Do you want to let folks know where Jeff is? Because Jeff is not here. So you might want to explain Jeff.
Yeah, big news. So Jeff Joseph is one of the founding partners at the firm I'm with, Joseph and Hall. He's moving on to take on a new project. And so he's starting up a new office for a different firm here in Denver. And so he will not be joining the calls unless, something comes up and we need him. We'd always love to have him, but he won't be on the calls. And going forward, he's still attorney of record on a number of cases. So there might be some things he has to do. But going forward, he's probably not going to be attorney of record on these cases. Yeah,
I and Greg are attorney of record as well on almost all these cases. So no worry about that. But Jeff's got things to do in his new job, and he doesn't need 800 emails from the courts. And I will tell you, it was nutty on Friday. I mean, it was nutty. Just every second. I think I must have received almost 800 emails on Friday, because every time they open a case in new court, you get 3 emails, if not 4 in some areas. It was insane.
And the top of them all looks the same, so you got to scroll down and figure out what the heck's going on.
It's from whatever court, they all have the same format. It's completely set. And then the problem is, while I'm admitted in many courts, I'm admitted in, I think, 18 district courts right now. I'm not admitted in all of them. So we have to go through the process now, taking a look at that, how we want to do. But we'll be in touch with the individual plaintiffs as well. There are a lot of you in field offices that are kind of one-offs. Like there's like one in Washington and one in Pennsylvania and one in Virginia. And you're all sitting on top of a preliminary injunction in every single case. It is completely bananas. So we'll figure this out, and we'll get back to you soon.
Chuck, go home to your family.
I will also close by saying this. Obviously, the best solution here is for Congress to do something, and Congress is not going to do anything. They're not. Congress is not going to do anything. They're useless. They're worse than useless, because they are promising to do stuff. And we're talking about the Democrats, all right? Republicans hate immigrants. They're clearly not going to do anything. And, there's no movement to save visas that's going to carry the day. There's no movement to recoup unused DVs or uncoup EBs. There's bills, but those are they're like pie in the sky, best wishes and unicorn dreams to that. Because it's just not going to pass right now. So the courts remain our only viable option to pursue this relief, and we will keep fighting for that. All right, Aaron, I'll let you guys go. Talk to you later.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, bud. Bye-bye.